Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. Today is April 28th, 2019, and I was doing some investigating this morning, and when I saw that the time was 11:11, during the time of my investigation, I knew I was onto something very important. And so I'm going to share with you what I was searching for and what I found at this time this morning. I was looking at the signs in the sun and the moon and the stars on the 17th day of the second month, which corresponds to the day the flood began on May 22nd. I found something quite interesting. And the first thing we can see with the importance of the moon was given by God as a marker of time, a marker of the signs and the seasons. The moon held an important place in the kingdom of nature, as known to the Hebrews. Conjointly with the sun, it was appointed for signs and for seasons, for days and years. Though in this respect it exercised a more important influence, if by the seasons we understand the great religious festivals of the Jews, as is particularly stated in Psalms 104:19, at more length in Ecclesiastes 43:6 and 7. The worship of the moon prevailed extensively among the nations of the East, and under a variety of aspects, it was one of the only two deities which commanded the reverence of all the Egyptians. The worship of the heavenly bodies is referred to in Job, and Moses directly warns the Jews against it. In the figurative language of Scripture, the moon is frequently noticed as presaging events of the greatest importance through the temporary or permanent withdrawal of its light. We know that the great sign, the great wonder in heaven, Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, was a sign that included the sun and the moon. So we cannot overlook the importance of the moon as far as the heavenly signs are concerned. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. She, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pained to be delivered. So we know that the Revelation 12 sign on September 23rd, 2017 had to do with the woman Virgo, the sun and the moon in Virgo, and the child is Jupiter. The child is Jupiter, who was 10 months or even more than 10 months in the womb of Virgo. Revelation chapter 12 goes on to talk about another sign in the heavens. There appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his heads. His tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and it did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. She brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne. So there's a second sign in the heavens. It has to do with a dragon ready to devour the child. The child we have already shown is Jupiter, who was 10 months in Virgo for the Revelation 12 sign, and now we have a sign of a dragon who devours the child. So on May 22nd, we see Jupiter within Sagittarius. But we also see down below in the same constellation the moon and Saturn at the same time. In Sagittarius, Jupiter, Saturn, and the moon, and if we look closer, we will see that Pluto is also in this mix. So we have 4 planets within Sagittarius on May 22nd, Jupiter, Saturn, the moon, and Pluto, all within the constellation Sagittarius on May 22nd. Now let's look at a connection between the Revelation 12 sign and May 22nd. May 22nd is important on God's calendar because it is the 17th day of the second month, which is Resurrection Day on second Passover, and the 17th day of the second month, as is written in Genesis 7:11, is the day the flood began. So we see a connection between the rising of the ark and the flooding of the earth, and the rising of God's people, the second resurrection, the resurrection day on second Passover, the 17th day of the second month. And we can see a connection between the Revelation 12 sign and May 22nd, 2019, based on Jupiter being in Sagittarius, Jupiter being the child, Saturn being the god that devours the child, and there's 606 days that divide the Revelation 12 sign and May 22nd, 2019. 606 days. If we look at the Strong's, 606 in the Greek means to be laid away, laid by, reserved. And we see that in the Hebrew, 606 means mankind. Mankind laid away. Mankind reserved. 606. Saturn is the god depicted in mythology as the one that devours the child. So we see Saturn and Jupiter together with the moon on the day the flood began. Mankind laid away. Mankind reserved. Saturn, the one who devours the child. Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019, the 17th day of the second month, as written in Genesis 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. Note that Noah was 600. And we have 606 days between the Revelation 12 sign and the day the flood began. 600 as in the year of Noah, and 6 days as in the 6th day when man was created. Mankind, 606. Mankind laid away or reserved. Mankind reserved. And the connection between the Revelation 12 sign, Jupiter in Virgo, the sun and the moon, and 606 days leading us to the day the flood began, which is a 7-day warning from the 71st anniversary of Israel. As Israel is turning 71 on May 14th and 15th, it's the 10th day of the second month. And that is the day the ark was closed. So we cannot overlook the sign of the fig tree, the 70 years. We cannot overlook the calendar of Noah. Jesus told us that as in the days of Noah, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. And we cannot overlook the importance of the sun, moon, and stars, and the moon conjoined with Saturn. If the moon represents the church, and Saturn represents the one who devours the child, and their being conjoined together on the exact day the flood began is a sign that the child is about to be devoured. The church, the left behind, those who have not prepared for the rapture and the escape of the Great Tribulation. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, and just more pieces of the puzzle. And I am constantly praying and asking the Lord if there's anything else that he would want me to share, because we have given a full explanation in many different ways about the importance of May 14th, the day that the ark was closed, the 10th day of the second month on the Hebrew calendar, the closing of the fig tree generation exactly as the 70th year ends and Israel turns 71, and that being a 7-day warning to the day the flood began on May 22nd. So the signs that I'm sharing with you today are more signs showing May 22nd as being the day, or a very important day, more signs showing the destruction of the child, the devouring of the child. Saturn conjoined with the moon on this very day. So this is all I wanted to share with you today. I pray everyone is blessed. And as always, I will leave the links of my previous videos that I have been sharing about May 14th and May 22nd as the end, really the final end, the final warning, and the day the flood begins, given to us, shown to us in the book of Genesis. So I pray everyone is blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.